right, up next, we have social media's highly anticipated weekly nighttime show, Diversity, with Miss Obeary Marie. Get ready to laugh, get ready to cry, get ready to have those hard conversations with Miss Aubrey tonight, streaming live on all social media platforms. Let's go.
I can see it, I can feel it, time has come now to reveal it. I've been waiting for a long time, gotta do it, and won't let nothing hold me down, gotta do it, because I may not get another chance, I believe it, if I want it, I can have it.
Look, I'm about to go in full talking and on mute. Greetings, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Diversity. On this week is a continuation of a conversation that we have been having in regards to all of our melanate. Wow, melanite moms. In regards to postpartum depression. On last week, we took a lot of testimonials from you guys in regards to your experiences with postpartum, being able to kind of elaborate on some of the experiences that you guys have. I am so ecstatic that you guys decided to come back this week, where we do have a special guest on our show, Charming, which she is a doula, for those of you guys who did not know. So this show is just going to basically be a continuation of what was last week. And what we will be able to do is just ask Charming a lot of those particular questions. If you did not get a chance to come on and talk about a lot of those experiences that you may have had, you now have a professional on here that can be able to answer a lot of those questions in regards to new moms, or if you're still in your newborn to 5-year-old period with postpartum. So we're so excited about having you guys here on today. Charming, welcome to the show. How are you?
Gratitude. I am good. I'm excited to have this conversation. It's been a little while. You know, I've been an active doula in a while. So just being able to have the important conversation. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that even though that you may not have done this in a while, you're still a doula. You know what I mean? Like it at any given moment, I feel like if a woman was to have birth and you're there, you're stepping right into your doula shoes, and you're going to make sure that that baby gets here safely. I know that last week, you were not able to tune in, but I noticed that there were a lot of women coming up stating that their experiences in the hospitals were like absolutely horrible. To any women that are necessarily fearful, right, of going in and just telling doctors, because they've already may have spoken with a doula, or they may have already had their, meetings and how everything is going to be able to go, and they do have to go to the doctors. What are some of the things that you want them to kind of let those doctors know, so that therefore they don't have to have so much pushback when it comes to just the approach when they're in these rooms?
So as a doula, one of our main things is to inform you. Or actually, we don't even inform you. We really inform you about, we give you tools to use your informed consent, to, consent to procedures, to know what a procedure is, to know if there is other options, to know if you could try something else first. Because in the hospitals, we got to be honest. First of all, OBGYNs are surgeons. They are trained for the worst absolute scenario in birth. They're trained to birth to go wrong, and they have to give a C-section. And so a lot of the times you will see doctors rushing you. You'll see doctors you know, oh, holidays coming, they're trying to induce you 2 days before, you know, Thanksgiving, you know, all these kind of things. And one of the things I also learned about being a doula is I did something called hypno babies. I didn't finish it because I just do stuff like that. I'd be like, I'm gonna learn about it, and I never get my certificate for it, but I know. But it's called hypno babies, and basically the concept of it was birth is not supposed to be painful. We were programmed essentially that it was painful. And one of the things that I really remember that it stuck to me when it comes to hypnosis in general and being able to be programmed, there's a thing that we authority, you know, your authority has the ability to program you easier. So doctors are a part of that authority. And so when you hear a doctor say like, oh, you know, this is the safest way, in your mind, you're like, well, what other way could there be? What other way could there be? But it's really important to inform yourself and not trust the doctors, and just really not trust them, not trust what they say. One of the big things I did was first ask, what does your birth look like to you? What does it look like to you? Like, does it look natural? Does it look active? Does it look like you're at home most of the time? What does it look like? Because if you don't know what it should look like, then you don't know what to agree to. You don't know what to demand. You don't know what to expect. You don't know any of those things, you know? And so it's important to do a birth plan. It's one of those things where it's like, do I really need a birth plan? And it's like, kind of.
Right.
Only because, like, for me, it's like, it's very intentional. Also, if you have it in, it's kind of, you have it in writing. You said to the doctor, this is what I didn't want. This is under the circumstances. So if anything were to happen, it's kind of a form of writing. But when it comes to like getting like pain medications, or even how long you're at the hospital, it's just really important for you to know your rights and know what's available. So I don't know, like.
No, absolutely. So I definitely understand exactly them being able to plan this out, having a birth plan. Now, within having that birth plan, if they are getting, because we had a story to where an individual, she did have a doula herself, and those doctors literally tried to push back on her and tried to call the authorities to get her arrested because of some of the things. No. That was another story. But I think that more so of it, she had a doula, and she wanted to necessarily only do what she had did in her birth plan. I think that that's what that was. The other one is something totally different. And she said that she was in a like a hickey town where you have like a lot of genomes, predominantly, not really too many of Melanites. And at that hospital, they just were very, we're gonna do this, we're not worried about that, you know, type of situation. Like, what do you tell mothers that have those same type of instances as well?
Well, to avoid it, you can do research on your hospital. You can do research on your doctor. That is really for me, that's really where you have to go, because as a doula, I am your support system. I cannot speak for you.
Right.
So you have to be able to say your rights, know your rights. So for me, like, I never really knew what to do in those situations. I've never really occurred myself. That being the case, I know that happens. And it's one of those things where that's kind of why you have to really go deep into the research of the hospital you're going to be at, the state laws, and not necessarily the laws, but even like the, how do you say it? The unspoken laws, you know, the unspoken laws of the hospital. You know, you can go into groups on Facebook and people will say, this hospital treats me like this, don't go there. There's plenty of people. And so you know, I don't necessarily know how to say what to do to get into that when you get in that situation, because it's a very sticky situation, and the only thing you can do is really know your rights. The same as if you were to get into an altercation with a cop, you know, what
Right.
can you really do if you are not informed?
Okay. No,
You
no,
know.
no, no. Fair enough. I absolutely, I get that. Just kind of doing your own research and being a little bit more informative on those certain things. So kind of like combining that with your birthing chart. So therefore, if there's any pushback, you know what to say, you know what laws cover what, and
Hmm.
your rights within what, because you are the parent
Hmm.
and you have the rights to do whatever you want to do by the law, or
Yeah.
however they want to put it, right?
Exactly. So I'll give you an example of my own
Okay.
birth.
Yes.
I did not become. I was a doula after my first. I became a doula after Royal was born, after my first kid.
Mhm.
I It's funny because like when you think back at who you like used to be, you're like, how did I not know any of this shit? Like, what was going through my brain? Like, I had no idea about any of that. Even being like a natural person, well, yeah, even being a natural person, even being, you know, all these things, I still was not fully informed about the
Right.
birthing process and what that could look like. So I go into labor. I know like some positions, moving positions, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Um, I'm home for a few hours. I'm like, okay, it's bad. Let's go. They sent me back home. Um, then we're gonna skip over it. The most important thing you really need to know as well is what labor looks like and
Yes.
the stages of labor. So we can go into that
Mhm.
later because a lot of women make the mistake of going to the hospital early, and now the doctor is trying to get you out of that beach, and now they want to give you a C-section. Or now they're doing interventions, which in the birth world, the birth work world,
Yeah.
the law is interventions cause more interventions.
Mhm.
So
I
you
I want to stop right there because
Mhm.
you said something that is so important. And I think that a lot of women are like, really? Because I'm like that too. You know, the first time that your water breaks and the first contraction that you feel, it's let's go to the emergency room because I'm about to have the baby.
Mhm.
But then you suspect and you find yourself, well, they're saying I need to come back when I'm 7 centimeters
Mhm.
dilated or when I'm six
Or they're
centimeters
wanting to
down.
put me or they're wanting to put me on pain medication right now.
Right,
And
right,
so
or
mhm.
right,
and
right.
right.
Oh,
So that's my that so okay, so when I went back, um I'm doing fine. I'm in the hospital. I'm doing fine. I'm chilling. No big deal. Not a problem. The doctor comes in and she goes, "We need to break your water." Okay. I had no idea. Sure, fine. No medicine, had no interventions before this, right? No
right,
interventions.
right.
So the way they break your water artificially is we about to get graphic, y'all. Is they I'm gonna call it a ginormous crochet hook because that's what the fuck it looks like. It's a long metal thing with a little hook. So what they do is they go in and they rip the bag. So it's not painful, anything like that. But listen to how invasive that is.
Mm-hmm.
They go
Mm-hmm.
in and they rip the bag and then your water breaks. So when your water breaks, what happens is all the pressure that was so when your water breaks, now hormones are being released into your body
Right,
that are pushing you on to the next level fast.
right.
Your brain doesn't have the ability to make that quick connection and work there. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. As soon as she breaks my water, I think I go through 3 contractions before I'm like, drugs now. Drugs
Yes.
now because I didn't have that middle way
Uh-huh.
of being able to go like, oh, these hurt. Oh, these are getting
Naturally.
faster. It literally just went
Oh,
boom, fast. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Yeah.
So what? Okay. And I love that you're telling your story because I have questions because
Mm-hmm.
now it makes sense in regards of when you're in labor, they say time the contractions
Mm-hmm.
so that you know how
Boom.
close the contractions are.
Yes, because
And
go ahead.
okay. No. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Because it's like I said, it's been a while, so I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head like every single stage of what they're called. But you have, I think, 3 or 4 stages of labor. The first is when, like, basically there's symptoms to it, there's energies to it. The first is a stage is like, you know, the contractions are like 15 minutes apart. Like, you can walk, you can feel them, you can, you know, so that's one way. So they'd be like, oh, so that's how you know, okay, you're in this stage of labor. Your contractions are about this long apart. You're good. You can breathe through them. Boom. Okay. Now we're getting to the next stage. Contractions are closer. They're much harder. You got to breathe a little bit more intense through them. Okay. Now we know we're in active labor. Boom. Time is coming. As soon as the contractions get, like, I don't remember, 15 seconds apart, I could be completely wrong. 2 minutes apart, I don't know. 15 seconds is really close. Probably 2 minutes. Then you're not, then you literally cannot handle the pain. It's like, it's go time, baby. It's go time. So imagine, like, you're like, ooh, and you're scared. You're pregnant. You're having a baby. You're about to give birth. You don't know what the hell is going on. You have a little contraction. Ooh. But this is the stage where you're supposed to just be at home. You're supposed to be in the dark. You're supposed to be with your family and your partner.
Meditating.
Listen to music. You're supposed to be meditating. But you're worried because nobody has informed you that this is the beginning. That you got hours. You got almost a whole day to go for most people, you know? And so with that, she broke my water. And like I said, that was one intervention that led to another intervention immediately. So when you get an epidural, they have to numb your back. They have to numb your whole spine. So, or they have to numb it, and then they go in, you have to bend your back. It is honestly, every procedure in birth is invasive. And that is the problem with unnatural birth. People think, oh, natural birth, things can happen. No, natural birth is so just uninvasive that your stress levels are down. Things have a less chance to happen because your stress levels are down. You're at home. Your adrenaline is not rising. Your cortisol is not rising. You know, you have dopamine, you have serotonin, you have all these things flowing around you because you are at home and you're not stressed. So I got the epidural. Actually, wow, I just remembered. Before that, you want to know what they gave me?
What?
They gave me fentanyl.
No.
Yes, they give pregnant women fentanyl. They gave me fentanyl while I was pregnant.
Shut your mouth.
I was in that beach house, like, literally pregnant in labor on the table. I remember that. I forgot. They gave me fentanyl so that I could sleep. That's what it was. So that the pain would go down.
So
because
did that not harm the baby at all?
I mean, I don't know. When you look at children, you'd be like, I don't know what thing it was.
Right.
But you know, luckily there was no big, you know, there was no allergic reactions. There was no, I don't know what could happen from that, you know.
Yeah.
But so that's what that was. That was basically a temporary solution so that I could sleep. So that's one intervention. Then they gave me broke my water, then the epidural. So then I go through labor. And then I end up getting degenerative disc disease. What happens if you ask women that have epidurals, their spines start hurting. So my disc, I have a disc in there that is basically degenerating from where they put the epidural. The whole point is one intervention can lead to the next. So the best bet for you, it's very important to just know what your options are, because you can say, I don't want that. What are the risks? What are the risks? If is my baby going to die if we don't do that?
Wow.
You know? So yeah.
That is so interesting. Oh my word. Okay. So, like, that's a hard pill to process because they gave you fucking fentanyl. That is now the number one killer of youth and people. You know what I'm saying? Like, how was this powerful drug that is used for women that are pregnant to handle pain and to sleep? How is it now being used as a street drug that is now of the masses, what people consume to get high? That's deep.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah, morphine. It's funny. They'd be like, oh, the police are here because you got THC in your system, but here's this fucking fentanyl for you.
What?
We've got to do a THC check every month because you had a little bit of THC when you came in at 6 weeks pregnant. Yeah, of course I did. I didn't know I was pregnant. Of course I had THC in my system. Now we got to do a THC check on you every month. But here's all this drastic amount of shit that we got to do to make sure the baby is healthy. When in reality, they're just making fucking money. All the procedures is a check. That's all.
It's additional. It's additional. You're like a lab rat. Professional lab rat.
You are a motherfucking lab rat. Period. Yes. Oh, here's another thing. So we're gonna talk about postpartum depression, postpartum health. Here's another story that I have for myself that really ties into just what it looks like after you give birth, after you make choices, after your baby's born, after you have to deal with the choices you made. Mm-hmm. So many things. So I have one major regret and I have one that is less, but when they're born, you have to get the vitamin K shot. You do not have to get the vitamin K shot. They want you to get the vitamin K shot. You don't have to.
What is the vitamin K shot? Like, let people know, new moms that may be expecting, what is this?
Basically, it's a shot they give, I think, at the bottom of the foot. It's not a vaccine, but it's what they give at the bottom of the foot. And basically what they say is that babies are not born with enough vitamin K to do whatever, which, come on. I don't believe that.
But now I have a question because isn't the pregnant woman the most healthiest in regards to being able to, especially when we say melanite, of course, we're the healthiest out of the beings, but with her carrying this baby, isn't her body the healthiest to make sure that her vessel and this unborn vessel is growing correctly within this 9-month period?
The body is a machine, and when you're pregnant, you just become a super machine. So yes, the body is capable of. The body is literally meant to survive. So that is why they have to kill us at every different direction, because with everything that they try to get us with, our body figures out how to survive. So pregnancy becomes even more supernatural survival because now there's another. I'm eating for two. That's a real thing. That is a real thing. Yeah. Like, it's not a fake thing. It's my body is telling me that I have to eat because I'm literally eating for two people. And it's not that it's a whole person, but I am growing a person. Therefore, it requires the amount of nutrition and nourishment that a human person requires. You know,
of course. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's honestly, you know, and even when you have like cravings, your body is telling you it's lacking something. Like, your body's a computer. Like, it can tell you what to do, especially when you're pregnant, especially when you don't have outside voices telling you, oh, this and this and this about pregnancy, and oh, this and this and this about pregnancy. And it allows you to listen to your inner voice, and you can listen to your intuition, and you have people around you, and you have a doula or a midwife or a partner or whatever around you saying, you know, what do you want? What feels good to you? You know, so on and so forth. So the vitamin K shot, one of the side effects of it is jaundice. And my son got jaundiced. When I tell you Royal was yellow. Like, it makes your skin yellow because I don't actually remember exactly what it does. It pulls something out of, it basically makes your body produce something more when you get the vitamin K shot. And so it makes your skin yellow. So
as a mom, how did that make you feel to know that this shot could possibly harm my baby?
I mean, if you have any answer, it made me who I am now. That's how it made me feel. Like, it was so drastic to my experience that I am completely anti. I don't take my kids to the doctor. My daughter is 7 years old. I don't think she's ever been to the fucking doctor. Ever.
And
Like, I'm
she's
literally
perfectly
not
healthy.
kidding you. Ever been to the doctor. And
Oh
it's
my
because why? Like, what? I'm just paying them to say, oh, they need a vaccine, because that is what they do. That it's not a lie. It's not a fake thing. So Royal got jaundiced, and it made it worse because he also got circumcised. And we can go into a deep rabbit hole about this, but you can't convince me that you should circumcise a baby. There are numerous health studies that show that it is unnecessary. It's also a fucking ritual. Why are we doing a ritual on our babies? Why are we doing a Christian ritual on our babies?
Why is that even allowed in the
Exactly.
hospital?
Listen, I'm here to tell y'all the truth. So because I feel like if I give you guys the story just the same as everybody else, you understand that postpartum health is so tricky. It's so tricky. It depends on your system. It depends on you as a person. Like, I'm a pretty rock solid person. So like, the shit that I experienced didn't fuck me up. But if I were to like think about it and like take it on, it would fuck me up. Like, when my son got circumcised, he was actually a little bit older. He was like a week older than they normally do it. They normally do it at a younger age, but just don't even. It's crazy. They normally do it at a younger age, but he was like 2 weeks old, maybe. Birth and like unnatural things. Exactly. Like, experiencing all of this. Like, that's why I said, like, having to make choices about all of these things that are so unnatural.
Right.
You know? And so this is very morbid. I'm going to give a trigger warning, actually, because this is actually a really morbid experience that I had. So
okay, wait. So this is what we're going to do, because we have 3 minutes before the next commercial. So let's go on our first commercial break, and then after this, we'll get into your story, because I want you to be able to tell it in full.
Okay.
All right. So y'all, we're going to take a quick break, our first break, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. We coming, y'all.
I call my power back to me from every person, place, entity, from every space, portal, time, and dimension, from every connection, attachment, and vessel where I left it. Anyone and anything that is attempting to siphon my energy, you do not have my consent to use my vitality, and I call my power back. I now release that which is not my own. I lay down the weight that doesn't belong to me, as well as the weight that does. I forgive all things, all people, and all others. I forgive myself. I cloak myself in a bright light of protection.
All right, and we are back. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear us? Okay. Yes, just right before the break, me and Charmy have been just kind of talking about this continued postpartum conversation. There's a lot that is going on in regards to this. And last week's episode, we had a lot of testimonials. Charming was just kind of giving us a little bit of insight in regards to what she experienced as a mom with her firstborn, and the shot vitamin K gave her baby jaundice. So we're now going to go into a conversation in regards to circumcision. For those of you that did not know, it is a Christian based type of ritual that is done in the hospitals, and we're just trying to understand why it's happening. So go into your experience with this ritual, honey, because I know that the way that her eyes got big, I'm just like, I just want to hug him. Like, I'm so sorry you have to go through this.
Listen, like, when I tell you the guilt is real, and it is everlasting, for real,
Yeah.
for real. You know,
Yeah.
I carry guilt very well, but it is very real. But I also want to say, I feel like we talked about this on Let's Have a Conversation probably a year and a half ago. But did we talk about how they do, I want to say the popes, or they do it in the Catholic Church where they circumcise them and then they're like suck the blood off or something.
No, I don't.
We never
I think we.
y'all
No.
in the chat. Let me know if y'all heard about that.
Wait, no, this is a lot. Like what?
Let me know if I just made something up, because I don't think I did. But yeah, so for me, like I said, I didn't really know much about in like any of the you know, conscious part of being a parent, you know. But my intuition was like, I don't really know if I should going to get him circumcised. And I'm putting my family on blast, because I'll tell them to their face. They made me. They pressured me so hard. And let's talk about postpartum health. How healthy is it for you to be pressured into a decision from other people, and you are the one that lives with the guilt? What does that create in not only women who like, and it's an equation. Imagine you have that in experience, and you've made a loss of baby before, and you have guilt upon that, and you have the guilt upon this, and you have all these things, and now you don't feel adequate to take care of a child. Now you've lost interest, right? It's so complex. It's not just, oh, you have a baby, so this. It's literally the most complex experience a human can have, besides, I don't know, dying. Being born, probably, but that goes into that, you know. It's an absolute such complex experience. So now to go in even more so the mental health aspect of it, when I took him to the doctor, they have this fucking plastic bed. It's like this big, because it's a newborn baby little thing, and it has a cutout of like a divot indent of a body shape.
Mm-hmm.
They made me, and I guess they normally have the nurses do it.
Mm-hmm.
They made me strap my crying baby down. My crying baby down. They strapped the baby, and they put Velcro over their arms and Velcro over their legs. And I was like, I did one. I was like, I'm getting the back here. I gotta leave. Why are you? Keeping myself together. Imagine the guilt that comes with that. First of all, I didn't even want to do this. Second of all, they made me do that. Third of all, my baby's crying. Babies don't ever get laid down straight. Babies have been curled up in the womb for months. Their natural body position is to be curled up.
Oh,
you know, literally, like their spine is to be curled, their body. That's why babies sleep in little bundles and balls, and that's why you can swaddle them tight in blankets and wrap them, because that's their natural position. So it's just, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that nobody knows about. Why are you sad? Why do you don't love your baby? Well, maybe because I don't love myself, because other people don't love me enough to give me a fucking break. You know, that's just a simplified version of that. You know, so my experience with Naya, completely different, but also just as traumatizing. And the difference is you have to know yourself. It's so important to know yourself.
I am so mind blown. They strapped this baby to a.
They strapped my baby down like he was in a motherfucking asylum.
I would have just lost it.
And I don't know how they do it everywhere else, but that is what I experienced. And I don't know. You could Google it. You could Google like little circumcision bed. And it's a little bed with a little baby in it. And it's very fucking, it's Black Mirror morbid.
That is so, like, when you think about this, could you imagine a beautiful being coming from you being strapped to a table where they're going to potentially cause additional harm to my baby?
Yeah. And I brought
is fighting in there.
Yeah, I know, right? And when I tell you, like, that's why I said, like if I, in another universe, all my family is getting smoked. In another dimension, I'm not holding it back.
Would you say all of them? Everybody's getting
everybody who told me, oh, it would be fine. You're getting the smoke for me based off of this. Anyways, and so when we talk about postpartum depression and health, nobody can really question, why are you like this? I have my reasons, and a human just came out of my body, whether it was cut out of me or it came out the other end. My body is going through drastic changes, creating things, and the difference is you have to, that's why when you talk about birth, like back in the day, you have like a small village of women that were basically assigned to take care of that. And that's because they were intuitive. They paid attention. That was their job. So basically you have a scenario where as a mother, I don't have to ask for things. You know, I know this person is going to bring me that herbal tea because that is what we do as a village, you know? And so the real reality is we're just lacking a village. Like when it comes to birth, we're lacking the intuitive, natural, ancient, mystical village that we've always used to have or that we should have. And that is what we are. That's the real depression.
I can tell you who really does have the villages, the Hispanics.
Right.
When their children come into the world, honey, everybody is at a standstill and they know where they're playing. Aunties, uncles, aunts, everybody, grandmothers, mothers, great grandmothers, everybody in that village is there. They're like, we need to make sure that this child is okay throughout all of its life.
That's their baby.
That's they baby. I don't think you get your child until 5.
Right.
And then that's when you do your little thing. But up until then, they're teaching them they're communicating with them. They're teaching them their words,
their language.
They're letting them know what is this. If this is a papaya, they'll tell you what a papaya is in Spanish. Okay. You would know how to be able to communicate. So by the age of 4 and 5, you're fluently speaking their language on top of learning how to be able to speak English.
Right.
So now you're going to be used as the person that's going to be the spokesperson for the family.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So we talked about 3 types of depression from postpartum, right? We talked about postpartum blues. We talked about postpartum psychosis. And we talked about just regular postpartum depression. We understand the postpartum depression part, but psychosis and the blues, like what can you give us on information about those, if you can?
That's a great question. So I am not too, like I mentioned to you before, so there's also different types of doulas. So another thing for you guys to really look into as well is there's birth doulas and there's postpartum doulas. So as a birth doula, I was there for you majority of your birth experience, and then like a few weeks after you gave birth. And then postpartum doulas, they go so far as to bringing you meals every week and, you know, things like that, holding the baby, washing the dishes while you holding the baby, you know, while you're taking a shower, like literally being a sister. So psychosis is interesting to me because did you like look up like any, I'm going to look it up, but did you find any like symptoms like what that, like, you know what I mean?
No, because I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole too deeply in that, because I was like, the biggest thing for me is the act of the postpartum depression, because within that I looked at 10 common things and I'm like, these things here are seeming to be the most common with a lot of women that indicate that they have it. So I didn't go down the rabbit hole. I just wanted to know, I know that there were 3 and I wanted to kind of just, you know, talk about them and see exactly, you know, what that could possibly kind of look like. But as far as the one that we have predominantly just talked about and focus would just be the depression.
Okay, so I just kind of did a quick little search, and I was wondering like what would be the reason why it would go out so far as to become a psychosis.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It says the rate is much higher among women with an established diagnosis of bipolar disorder before
Mm.
pregnancy. So I don't know. I guess my question for postpartum psychosis is if it's high in women who are bipolar or probably have other mental illnesses, are there any precautions doctors take? Do they kind of treat them in the same manner, including the medicines that they give them? Because I really feel like these medicines, these procedures would definitely probably exacerbate somebody with a mental illness that is that drastic. And so I don't. These are hard questions for me because it's okay, but I'm just being honest with you, because I haven't really thought about postpartum psychosis, but my question is always, the same, like what causes it? How is it treated? Do they treat it as if it's a regular psychosis?
Right.
Because they say that I seen that
but the fact that you're even saying that it is for women of that have bipolar, situations and thoughts, it just brings it into a deeper situation now, because it's like you said, are you closely monitoring these women
right
that have bipolar, schizophrenia types of, what I'm saying, thoughts? Like,
right.
are
you informing them? Are you giving them resources on what could happen? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm wondering. So it also says that, like, I think it's like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 2,000, 1 in 1,000 experience postpartum psychosis. But if you think about it, that's really not a drastic ratio. Like, that's still a lot of people. Like, there's what 10,000. To 20,000, 30,000 people in a city, that's a big amount of people who are experiencing this,
Should they not even have children? You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't know, that's tricky, but I remember being a kid and being like, people need to get tested before they have children. I don't know. I guess that's the thing when it comes to informed consent, letting them know, and that's the thing is, it's so hard to say like, oh, we got to do this because doctors don't give a fuck. So imagine you're a Black woman or you're Melanite and you're bipolar and you have a high chance of experiencing postpartum psychosis.
Right.
How are they going to tell you that information?
Uh-huh.
How are they going to deliver that to you? Is it going to be something where now you're freaking out and now you're making everything worse in your pregnancy because you're having these high strenuous emotions? Or is it going to be, or, we don't have this cross training. Like, I guess a midwife would be more gratitude. I guess a midwife would be more, that person who offers that to you, because midwives are more trained in the natural aspect of it. But once you get into the postpartum psychosis, they're going to send you to a doctor. They're going to send you because that's out of their scope of knowledge. Exactly.
Yeah. No. I 100% get that. Now, in regards to just basically postpartum depression, we talked about 10 of these things, but I'll run through the list again. 10 common things of postpartum depression: loss of interest, guilt, crying, fatigue, irritability, withdrawing from relationship, hopelessness, poor concentration, excessive anxiety about baby, trouble sleeping. Y'all, I am so sleepy, so please do not. Okay, today is just a sleepy day for me. So those are 10 common things that are with postpartum. Like, can you attest to any of these things that you know for sure that you may have felt?
Absolutely. Like, I didn't have like loss of interest. I definitely had guilt with Royal. It's kind of funny because I developed anxiety after I had Royal. So I developed anxiety. I literally developed it. I remember being like, I don't understand what anxiety even is. And then being like, why do I get pictures in my head that I literally have never been thinking of before. And it's so scary, you know, like, and so I, you know, anxiety I didn't really have that with him, but I definitely with Royal, I don't believe that I probably had the blues, but I feel like when you go through, you know, after pregnancy, I feel like, you know, if things are normal, you're going to have the blues, you know, like you're going through a high drastic emotional changes, you know, chemicals are going in and out of your body.
Yeah.
But for Naya, I'm not the type to be like, yeah, I had depression. So I don't know.
So
Somebody
did you
might
kind
have
of
to
just
tell me.
thug it out on your end?
Yeah, and with Naya, so like I said, with Naya, to keep my story short with Naya, I had what's called HG with her, hyperemesis gravidarum. And it basically is morning sickness all day, every day, 9 months throughout the whole pregnancy, not just morning, not just for the first 2 months. And so, like I said, like that's why it's really important to know yourself. I'm an astrology head, y'all. I'm like, listen, I know my astrology, so I understand why I receive information and process information the way I do. So I'm not like kind of confused.
Right.
I'm like, you know, I'm not grieving the situation. I'm a highly thoughtful person, so I think about it, and it feels, you know, crazy and all this stuff. But that's why it's really important to know yourself and know what you know, how your body you know, receives information and transfers it. Because with Naya, like I said, I was sick for the first 3 months. I literally stayed in bed all day. I literally, and this is a guilt thing, I don't know how Royal was survived. My brother lived with me, so I know that my brother like took care of him. But other than that, I have no concept, no understanding, nothing of how he survived. And that, you know, that kind of just causes guilt. Like I'm like terrified to have another child.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yes, I am. Have you never heard Katina be like, you have a baby finally? I'd be like, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yes. I can recall those moments. You're like, nope.
Nope. Everybody be like, oh, congrats, Charming. Take it back. Take it back. No, I'm not received.
That is so funny because I listen. And hey Toddy.
Hey Toddy.
You know, the crazy thing about it is just like, I understand why a lot of women are just like, What you say, girl?
No, I was sorry I came up here late.
No, it's
And I was
okay.
trying I had the headphones in, so I was trying to figure out why I was still hearing it through my phone.
Oh, can you hear us through the earphones now?
No.
So what I wanted to say real quick before I forget, one of the cousins commented that she had a family member who was schizophrenic that went through psychosis with all 6 of her children and lost her children. And I feel like that really touches on the subject of, should these people, like, not these people, that sounds so just terrible, but should we have a conversation around how we can, like, have a conversation with people who have mental illness about what it may look like to have children and if they want to make that choice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because she lost all her children, and not to say like, oh, her children shouldn't have existed, but if we lived in a society where it was okay to say, if you suffer with this that is so extreme that it could cause psychosis that could be extremely dangerous for your newborn or your other children, you maybe not want, you know what I mean, where we could have the same conversation. But we live in a society that is literally ass backwards and contradictory.
Absolutely. You know? And like that's why I was like, should those type of patients be looking into motherhood? If you know what I'm saying, if this is something that's already happening before the pregnancy, if you're pregnant for 9 months, right, with the type of not communication, but type of medication that they put, girl, I'm telling you, I'm sleeping, but with the type of medication that they give you because you may be bipolar or schizophrenic or anything like that, is that going to harm the baby? Well, that means no, you're not on this for this particular time. So not everybody is in a honey, you're off your meds. So you may know that you're going through something. This could very well be something totally different and what you're experiencing mentally. And now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, they have medications for everything else. Why the fuck you don't have anything for those women that are, or those people that are great people outside of just that?
Because they only want to give you the medications that make them money, and that may possibly help, but don't fully help.
Yeah.
You know, so I forgot. I was gonna say something. I forgot. I'll think of it.
Was it because of the schizophrenia and was it on that conversation?
Yes. Oh, I was gonna say it's kind of it goes back to like choices. It goes back to informed consent. Like, if we actually cared about society and like the things people experience as individuals, and not just like not whatever they care about. I don't know. Not eating human beings, because I guess that's what all they care about. Allegedly.
Okay.
If we cared about in a utopia, we would live in a society that, you know, that said we're not overpopulated, but you don't need to have a child. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, people are so afraid to be like, you don't need to have a child. It's okay. Like, there's so much more to life. You know what I mean? Like, that's a conversation. People, oh, we don't want to say that. Women, not all women can have babies. Okay. What about it? Like, there's also not all babies have mothers. Go fix it. Like, you know, so I don't know. There's solutions that are only impossible because of just the society we live in. That's really it. Because
it literally is. No, because I'm gonna agree with you on that, because it's like a contradictory situation just in regards to the Roe versus Wade shit, where they're saying that you can't have an abortion. How are you able to really drive her to not have children if she does not want to? But then again, you're saying that in the case of her being a mom, she has to go and literally have this child, and she doesn't want this child, or she shouldn't have this child. Why would you even want that person to even feel or experience the act of you taking away her child because of her mental condition?
Exactly.
Isn't that not affecting her even more?
Exactly. We literally are just rats. We are just rats. Like,
that angers me to know.
They know, like, so they want to ban abortion, but they don't create any safe nets around having children, not being able to possibly take care of them. None of that. They don't create a safety net for if that happens to be the case. Well, you had to have the baby, but, you know, we'll give you this. We'll slide you this. We'll slide you this. We'll give you that. The rest you got to figure out on your own. You know what I mean? So, like, either let me get rid of it or help me take care of it until I can take care of it on my own. And that's why we're rats, because you're talking about, you know, how it affects the mental health. They trigger alert. They want abuse in households. Like, that's what we're set up to do. They want mothers to be fucked up because mothers are the pillar of the world. So if mothers are fucked up, it's easy to fuck everybody else up. It's easy. Your mama was messed up. It's easy to get to you, baby.
To trickle down the chain. Wow. And it just only proves Quatita's motherfucking statement. The woman is the alpha. She's the leader. So if we affect the alpha, we poison everything the fuck else.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's bring it back to postpartum depression and psychosis and all this stuff. Why is that a mental health? Why is specifically being depressed after giving birth a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a real medical condition? Why is that a thing? Why does that exist?
Why does it even happen? And you know, she said something earlier on the live. She said, and that programming. Now it makes me believe that this is a programming that they really want to affect Melanite women, because it seems as though that a lot of Melanite women are the ones that are dealing with this at an all-time high rate.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. And you know it's true because like I think I meant to talk to you guys about this, but when I first became a doula, the statistics were Melanite women were more likely to die giving childbirth. I want to say a high percentage, maybe 200%, more likely to die giving childbirth, no matter their class, no matter if they were low class, middle class, rich. And one of the examples is Serena Williams. She literally almost died giving childbirth, and it was the fault of her doctor. Period. There was it was the fault of her doctor. They did not believe or pay attention to her when she said she was experiencing certain things. They dusted her off and she almost died.
But even within, okay. And even with that, people still are like, oh, well, Melanite women are so dramatic when they're da-da-da-da-da. Well, how is that even the case?
It's not.
How can you tell another Melanite woman that may have had a child, she has another one, so she's been through this process before. With her son, she may not have went through all of that. Now with her daughter, she's probably dealing with preeclampsia because y'all induced her too early. So now her blood pressure is up. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you have a lot of additional factors that y'all cause, and then y'all say that it's not the truth. And then when this woman when she passes, we're so sorry about your loss. How is that even possible? How are you sorry when she told you?
When she told you.
Numerous sometimes what she told you.
And then we could even talk about breastfeeding. I'm a very, very big breastfeeding advocate. I'm a big breastfeeding advocate. I believe it should be done minimally 6 months, but go as long as you can. And that's not to say like breastfeeding is the most funnest thing. I've literally did not have very much fun, and it's a tricky thing. But when you look at like the numbers, so when you think of breastfeeding, do you think of a Black woman? Do you think of a Melanite? Like, what is the image that pops in your head when you hear the word breastfeeding? Truthfully.
I would say probably myself, or like, just
exactly.
Okay.
So imagine you don't breastfeed. Imagine you don't know anybody around you that breastfeeds. In your head, you see probably a genome, because that is what they show you. That is what is shown everywhere. And so one of the biggest factors in breastfeeding is if the mother knows somebody or has someone in their family that also has breastfed, because you and I don't know if you guys like know much about like breast milk and stuff like that, but it's literally called liquid gold. Like your body has a process that if the baby so first of all, your body is a literal machine. It has a supply and demand process. So when you feed your baby, when you pump, your body is not pushing out all of and listen, y'all take y'all notes, because if you got confusion on breastfeeding, this might answer some questions. So when you pump, your body works as it's like I don't know how to necessarily describe it, but the way it works is when the supply ends, it knows to make more. So if the supply doesn't end, your body calculates it and says, okay, well, we made too much last time, let's make less this time. So imagine the way you breastfeed is you pump. So your body never actually empties it. Now women are tripping. I'm not making any breast milk. I'm going to have to feed my baby formula. So now we created this disconnect between breastfeeding and formula, because first of all, nobody told them that they should do that, because they didn't have a lactation. Am I saying that right? Lactation consultant. I said lactation.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Before you go started, before you get started, I want to go ahead and we're going to take our second break.
Okay.
This is at the hour mark. So let's go ahead and take our second break. And then when you come back, girl, we're going to finish this. So we'll hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back, y'all.
My name is Sean Edwards, and I'm the business owner of Harvest Painting Impressions, and I provide interior and exterior painting and deck staining services to all residential and commercial clients. At Harvest Painting Impressions, I embody the perspective that every home or property has a look and quality of its own, and my primary goal with you as a valued customer is to accentuate the look of your home by adding life to it through the art of applying color. With Harvest Painting Impressions as a customer, you will have the option to acquire a variety of service options, promotions, senior discounts, material and labor warranties included with any project. In addition to that, I value the opportunity to provide you with a free and comprehensive service plan that is simple and specifically designed to promote quality performance and, most importantly, your satisfaction. For your free estimate, you can contact me at area code 815-590-6489.
Welcome back, y'all. Honey, we are having the part 2 of the conversation of postpartum. We have Charming with us on today to answer any of the questions that we have in regards to postpartum depression with her doula experience. And before the break, we were talking about the importance of breastfeeding. And she asked us a question. She said, when you think about women who breastfeed, what do you normally think about? And a lot of people would say you would see a lot of genome women. Toddy herself, she said that she would see herself. So in regards to that, we were just kind of breaking that down a little bit. Charming, you have the floor.
Yeah, so it's also this relates to postpartum depression and health, because obviously this experience you go through in postpartum, but a lot of women, especially if you don't have the support, if you don't have informational support, of breastfeeding, the experience they have with breastfeeding often can lead to or exacerbate postpartum depression, postpartum blues, so on and so forth, because it's another thing where you may have an expectation of yourself, but you are not equipped with the tools to actually complete that expectation. And it's very frustrating, So, so I think I was talking about Melanite women and how often they breastfeed. I don't remember the last thing I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't remember the point I was making, I'm not gonna lie, but but I know where we was going with it. So when you talk about like breastfeeding, it's so I remember talking about breast milk production. And this is so important because you guys know me. I'm an information head. If the way you release fear is information. The way you let go of the unknown is by knowing. So if you it's there. The information's there. I'm gonna share some breastfeeding books with you guys, because if you guys might need them. If you don't, then you write them down, because I don't know. But breastfeeding is so important. Like it's another one of those ancient practices that we have lost touch with as Melanites. Like, let's really talk about how Melanite women used to breastfeed genome babies and not be able to have a relationship with them. They would breastfeed them and they would go off, and as soon as they were trying to teach them something, they would be like, Sally, get your fucking ass over here, stop talking to the slave. And like that's ancient trauma that is in our bloodline, that's in the Melanite bloodline, because we were forced to do something that was natural to us, and then they basically took it away from us through lack of information. I don't even know what made Black women be the least amount of breastfeeding, but we already know it's probably a tactic. It's definitely a tactic. Breastfeeding was something that got attacked in general. Like, as soon as formula came out, they kind of marketed it as like a rich people thing, like, oh, you know, you're better mom if you use the formula. The formula is you know, is this and that, and it's all these things. But you know, breastfeeding, right? And so it's so drastic that there's actually a thing called baby friendly hospitals, and a baby friendly hospital means they are certified to promote breastfeeding over formula. That means they have people come and say, do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Like, they can't have ads about formula out. They can't they can't provide you formula in your room unless you ask for it. Like, so many, like, that's how drastic it is. They had to create an organization to fight back on how hard hospitals push formula. Exactly. Separation from the baby, lack of skin to skin. Imagine every time you breastfeed, it's skin to skin. Skin to skin is such a magical, like, I'm an adult and I'd be like, let's do skin to skin. I'd be like, oh, you feel sick? Let me put my skin on you, you know? Because,
right.
Like, yeah. You know, because we can transfer information and we can help heal the body faster. So, you know, imagine you're a mom and you're lacking skin to skin because you formula feed your baby and you don't know better. But now something is on you. Now you have this energy over you. You're lacking energy. You're lacking this happiness that comes from breastfeeding. Right. Every time you breastfeed, it releases endorphins. It releases chemicals in your brain that's why breastfeeding moms be knocked out. Because they go in such a high vibrational state that they literally just fall asleep, you know? And so it's just such conspiracy theories. It's all a tactic. It's all just done on purpose to create as many rifts in the health of humans as possible. And, you know, and then we have situations where, you know, it's much more harder. But also when we talk about things like that, there are probably solutions that they haven't created because they just simply don't want to. There are so many solutions that can be had. So, for example, for me, when Naya was born, her mouth was too small. She couldn't suckle properly. So she wasn't getting enough milk. And what they do to know if the baby's getting enough breast milk is they weigh the baby every time they go to the doctor. So I had a doula. My doula was also a midwife. She was a doula becoming a midwife. And I basically told her, like, I took Naya to the doctor like once or twice when she was newborn, and she was losing weight. So they were like, okay, next time she comes and she's not this weight, then we're going to have to put her on formula. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? She sent a lactation consultant to me for free. And I say this to say that's important. That's an important factor. She sent the lactation consultant to me for free. Imagine if I would have had to pay for it. Wouldn't have had it. And the lactation consultant helped me figure out a system for Naya. So what they did is, and I want to show you guys because it was so crazy, and you guys could like probably look it up. There is like the little baby tubes because she's like a newborn. It had the formula in it, and they took a tube and they tape it to your chest like this, and they put it right on her nipple so that Naya suckles and she still gets the breastfeeding technique, but she's getting formula, so she's getting nutrients at that time. But I only had to do that until she cut back up on her weight. So if I would have went to the doctor, they would have said she has to be on formula. Then I probably would have really been depressed, you know? And so it's intervention after intervention. It's all these things. Imagine you're a mom and you want to be super mom. Yeah. And all these things are like, nope, you got to do this. Oh, no, you got to do this. Oh, your baby's sick. Your baby has to stay in the hospital for 7 days and you can't be here.
Oh my gosh.
Of course I'm going to be depressed.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me why I'm sad?
Yeah. That complete breaking apart mom and child. Listen, I know that we have been waiting to get to this part because we talked about everything that a woman could possibly go through in regards to this postpartum situation. Kind of touched on your testimonials this show. I want to get into the meat and the potatoes of what can the men do to help with moms that are dealing with postpartum depression. It is so imperative that a lot of the men understand that this is not a made up issue. This is not where you sit home, cross your legs, watch football. This is not this time. You have a pivotal role in this particular circumstance as well. So, Charms, if you could be able to let us know or answer any questions in regards to anyone having them in regards to what the men should be able to do during this time, you have the floor.
Listen, get it together, straighten up, pull yourself up from the bootstraps. No, I really think that men should be just as informed as women. I think men should be just as informed as the one carrying the child. Yeah. Just as informed. And honestly, like, the culture of men is lazy. Let's just keep it real. The culture of men is lazy. And that's kind of their fault. It's not their fault. It's kind of their fault. And so it's really the men have to be knowing, like, this is some crazy shit that's about to happen. And what could go wrong? And what can I do to prevent it from going wrong? Or what information do I need to know to prevent it from going wrong? Postpartum, there is, like I said, like, we have this notion where it's like, oh, let me hold the baby while you go do the dishes. How about you go do the dishes and I'm gonna sit here and hold the baby? So we have to be conscious of the relationship that the mother and the baby is supposed to have. Like, mother and baby are the most important thing for the first, like, 2 months, 3 months, period. Like, the baby don't know you. The baby don't know your daddy. The baby knows me. And exactly, they need to understand that they need to be just as much as involved, and it's really an ego thing. Like, please come up and say something.
Yeah, but, sure.
Really be invested and have the energy to take on a majority of carrying them on the back, because so many things.
I was working on my hair. Some of them was loose. I had to fix it, so I look weird. But never mind. Go ahead, Charmy.
So yeah, I'm about to be done, so governors could talk. But basically, like, they have to understand. You have to be fully there, because, like I said, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that you may not know happens. Like, I was alone at the doctor when the doctor told me I was going to kill my son because I wasn't getting him vaccinated. Like, I was alone. Like, Roy was at work, and when okay, now I remember, I definitely was I had postpartum rage from that scenario. Like, fully just couldn't believe that somebody told me I would kill my child. Yeah. So anyways, what do you want to say, governess?
They wasn't so harsh when they said it. The nurse kept saying, do you know what you're doing to your daughter? Because I wouldn't get Toddy vaccinated. And I was like, do you know what y'all trying to do to my daughter? The fuck? What I came up to say is this. As far as men go with the postpartum, I feel like men need to be educated on it, what it is, how long does it last, what does the symptoms of it look like. I feel like when men are typically in a situation or relationship with a woman who is having a child, as melanite women, I feel like we make it look so good and so easy that they don't understand or realize the real thing. They think you just pregnant with the baby pops out and we back. No, we're not back. I could kill you at any day now, because you know what I'm saying? Like, where my mental is and my rage is, and I really hate you right now. You don't even know that I despise you. But I love you at the same time, so I feel like it is a real almost deal breaker when men don't understand the concept of postpartum.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like we make it look so good. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, they're ready to come on, let's do it again. Let's have sex. Like, I'll slit your throat. Seriously, like, get away from me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like we are in that because there's the part of, oh my God, my body looks horrible now. Oh my God, what if this thing don't snap back? Like, am I doing the best as a mom? Like, how is he seeing me now? Like, does this baby like me? Like, it is so much that goes into it. And like you said, Charming, if you are not able or capable of breastfeeding or producing milk, now you're starting to feel like some kind of failure because, oh my God, like my body isn't cooperating. So it's really a lot. And just trying to get your hormones back to a regulated state to where your emotions are not in such a high and raging place. I feel like men should be required, if they're active in the life, to
Right.
have knowledge and take classes or some sort of information on postpartum because it would help.
Definitely 2 months prior
I would
to the
like to
baby
say
being
something
there.
too as well.
A 60-day course to where they can be able to fully go through that. Toddy, what you got to say?
Well, I would put my 2 cents on that too as well. Because I feel like even if it's just as implemented in high school, as the sex ed classes are, you know what I'm saying, or anything else, because they really need to be educated on it because it is very serious. And I think it's actually crazy that there isn't anything already that can educate them and just get a better understanding because it's insane. Um, but I just know from my experience already of just being 3 months postpartum, um, you know, my daughter's dad is in the home, and even though I have help, I've already kind of like managed to have resentment and be upset and feel like you're not doing enough. Um, and so, and even in my own battles of trying to get him to understand, right? Because y'all came out baby crying.
Girl, listen, she is in there having a moment, honey.
She in there
She's
Okay.
so
cussing folks
hungry.
out. That is not a cry. She in there cussing. God damn
Okay.
it!
Um,
It went so loud.
she is, yeah, she is crazy. She do not play by her
Kiana
feet.
is
She gonna
Kiana
make
is a
sure.
diva. Okay.
Okay. And so, I'm trying to get him to understand like it's new for me, it's new for you, and you don't really understand. And I'm trying to gather and understand while also trying not to feel like you should know because you are ignorant by default. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm just, I mean, we're really in the thick of it, and we're just trying to figure out a good balance. And I'm trying to like not be so hung up on uh certain things because I'm willing, I'm here, and I'm able. And um I think that plus for your mental anyway, it's better to just keep going with the flow and just keep going and not get so hung up on because it's not going to be like this forever. And not this is an excuse in any way, but there's going to be a time where she's going to call her dad. She's not going to call me. You know what I'm saying? There's there's going to be a time where this is his time. This is his space.
Yeah.
Um, and so I feel like throughout the journey, when you do have both parents present, it's never going to be equal. It's always going to be balanced. So I just want to throw that in there
I
as
have a
well,
question
if
for
that
you.
helped anybody.
Well, I
Um,
want to ask you a question
mhm.
because I'm your mom, so I know, but I don't know the answer to this.
Okay.
So, with you already having like, coming from certain like
Do y'all
depression.
mind if I hit the joint on here? I'm sorry. Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead, girl.
I can't.
You
Go
can.
ahead.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Sorry, y'all. Go ahead.
So, coming from like a space of having some type of depression before,
Hmm.
do you feel like now you're able to, because to me it seemed like you deal with things better, and I used to always say that to you, like, I think you need to have a baby because it's going to help you, and I
Hmm.
really genuinely feel like that's what I'm looking at. How do you feel about that?
It's so crazy because it feel like, oh, I don't want to get emotional about it. Sorry.
If you cry, I'm gonna cry now. Wait a minute.
Oh my gosh, Shadi, it's okay. Breathe. Just breathe. It's okay.
She brings so much joy
Mm,
There it is. Damn it.
mm,
that I would rather just be happy
yeah,
and just figure it out and heal
yeah.
and just keep going
She's your
than to
motivation.
sit in anything.
Yeah.
I am in a space of change and I just I can't hang on to anything that was before.
Yeah.
I am so in still in great gratitude and awe that I'm, even here. That even though like I go through things on a daily, it's like I know it don't even matter. Ain't none of my bills paid and I could care less because I have my baby and I have every faith and delusion in the world that by the time tomorrow comes, everything is gonna be all right. Because at the end of the day, that day gotta end.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Glorilla. Glorilla
What
No,
happened?
but for real.
They was asking Glorilla political questions, and she said she living her life like it's golden because at the end of the day, that day got to end.
I'm sorry.
Girl, what? But no, that is so beautiful because I think that a lot of women they understand that being a mom comes with just knowing that you have a beautiful human being that you're going to be able to love on every second of the day. And
Absolutely.
their smile is your smile. Their happiness is your happiness. You know? That is so beautiful.
You know what, Aubrey? But this is where the grandparents postpartum comes in, if it's
Yes.
ever such thing, because I'm so used to being able to pay those bills. I don't have it. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to pay mine this month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where my shit come in at because it's like I'm the backup. And
Right.
now the backup needs a backup. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get down. I saw that somebody said something about a man being 60 years old, and Michelle said 60 is too old. And it reminds me of some of the older gentlemen, 60, 70, are still procreating children, dropping children off to young women, and nobody is sticking around. So they don't even know. Like, I feel like childbirth for men is just not real. With that said, I'm going to step down. I love y'all.
I love you too. Gratitude for coming up. I absolutely agree with her. You know what I'm saying? It
I want to
angers
say, I'm
me.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, 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 no.
Go.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna go say. I'm gonna say something after you finish.
Um, actually, I feel like what you're gonna say is so much more important.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say because my mom said, you know, they just they're never gonna grasp it, and it's like they're never gonna grasp anything that they cannot experience.
Mm,
So we have to understand that,
mhm,
because you know, I, I'm trying to find something else to use as an example, but you know, when something traumatic happens to somebody else, we can have empathy, you know, and but we can't necessarily have sympathy because we
mhm,
cannot relate on that level.
mhm.
So, as hard as it may sound, we also have to realize that they're always going to be ignorant to some degree. Um, but we have to also, you know, try our best,
Yeah.
you know, moving forward and do our job to help them understand and educate so that they can get some type of understanding as to how severe, you know, postpartum and giving birth is. Um, and I feel like too that'll give us a little bit of a peace of mind. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I feel like sometimes we're so, mm, and, you know what I mean? And in order for us to like be healthy, we have to always continue to look at the positive and different perspectives and stay in our lane, in our space,
Mm,
and keep it pushing.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's just what I wanted to throw in there.
No, that was beautifully said. Um, just in general with that, like I listen, after we come from our last break, honey, I got to pose a question because now you got me thinking. Um, we are going to take our last break. I cannot believe that the last break is already here. Like, where in the hell did the time go? And we'll be right back from a word from our sponsors.
Never forget to look within as you shine from the inside out. Book your general reading, your scribed reading, and your past life reading with Charming Tea at www.awalkwiththeancestors.com.
My name is Sean Edwards, and I'm the business owner of Harvest Painting Impressions, and I provide interior and exterior painting and deck staining services to all residential and commercial clients. At Harvest Painting Impressions, I embody the perspective that every home or property has a look and quality of its own. And my primary goal with you as a valued customer is to accentuate the look of your home by adding life to it through the art of applying color. With Painting Impressions as a customer, you will have the option to acquire a variety of service options, promotions, senior discounts, material and labor warranties included with any project. In addition to that, I value the opportunity to provide you with a free and comprehensive service plan that is simple and specifically designed to promote quality performance and, most importantly, your satisfaction. For your free estimate, you can contact me at area code 815-590-6489.
Welcome back to Diversity, and we're at the final half of our part two episode of postpartum depression. And we have a former Jula with us, Charming T, and the new mommy, honey, of the season, honey, Toddy. with us, Tashayana Dean. And we are having this discussion. Prior to the break, we did speak with the governess and we kind of talked about a couple of things in regards to this whole ordeal with guys. But before we get into the conversation, sponsorships are available. I have not done this all night, and my apologies to production. Sponsorships are available if you are wanting to get your sponsorships on with A Walk with the Ancestors Productions. Please email a magic walk at gmail.com. Again, that email is a magic walk at gmail.com, and one of our representatives will get with you about that ad. So prior to that, we were talking about men and men being able to help throughout this postpartum situation. We talked about it. Toddy used a beautiful example of how women should think about this. I even wrote a couple of things down that I wanted to kind of run through you guys really, really quickly about what men should be able to do when it comes to just postpartum depression and being able to help their partners out. A couple of things that men can do or just need to know. Help your partner recognize the change that you're seeing inside of them or in them, in their everyday activities. If something is absolutely off and you recognize that, kind of let them know and have that conversation so therefore they can kind of register and recognize that I'm maybe moving a little bit too fast or I just may be overstimulated and I'm finding myself drifting off of the norm. Take a moment to learn how the baby blues differs from postpartum depression and anxiety. Figure out exactly how you can determine what is really going on. Is it anxiety? Is it the postpartum kicking in? Is it the baby blues? Figuring out this is homework for you to be able to figure out exactly what you can specifically do to help the mom, because at the end of the day, you are going into this situation a little bit ignorant due to the fact that you're not experiencing this full situation that's happening. Encouraging your partner to talk to a doctor if that person is drifting off. You don't know exactly how you can be able to help. So utilize a doctor as a source for the both of you to come up with different exercises so that you can be able to help that mom with whatever that she needs, right? And then also just offering to help in specific ways, figuring out ways that you can be able to take away some of the stress that the mom has, because we know that, like Charming said, the first 90 days after a birth is the most important because it's solely the mom and the baby in that moment, day in, day out. You have a schedule. Mom begins to put baby on schedule. Baby wants mom's touch, wants mom's energy to be there within that first 90 days. So figuring out different ways to be able to kind of include your comfort, if that basically is, like Charming said, holding the baby while dishes are being washed or while a shower is being taken, something, maybe if it's an hour, 2 hours, figuring out ways to be able to like really remove a lot of the stress from mom so that she can be able to get a little bit of me time in to just reset and get back into full swing of things. So I just had a couple of those written down. Ladies, what do you think about some of those things in just regards to just helping out with postpartum?
I thought those were really good and thoughtful. I want to say too about taking upon like the role of being aware is also like nutrition and health. Like breastfeeding moms need to be supplied with the correct amount of nutrients so that they can have energy after, because breastfeeding takes so much energy from you. that is necessary. So like even simple things like bringing a healthy plate of food, bringing water, making sure hydration is happening, and not really important is allowing for the main focus of the mother is to be on the baby, because now I'm a mother, Toddy. I don't know if you do this, but me, if I'm laying down with the baby and I'm hungry, I'm not gonna get up and make myself some food. I'm laying down with the baby. I'm nursing the baby. I can wait. So we naturally will put ourselves second. So really, I feel like a key is in this moment, as the father, you have to be aware that you have to put the mother first while the mother puts the baby first. You know what I mean? So whatever that looks like, like it could look like so many different things. So, making sure that their environment is, taken care of, not expecting, men are notorious. It is their horror stories of the way men treat their partners after they've given birth. Horror stories, and, preventing that is just consciousness and awareness, and like all the things you said, looking for signs, definitely being able to talk about it, because I feel like talking about it is a way you kind of like can hear it, like you can hear yourself, you're saying it, now you can hear it, now you're not having a conversation with yourself in your head about whether your thoughts are this or your thoughts are that, and you're having somebody tell you, I understand how you feel. I understand you feel that way. If you want me to help you more, or if you need me to do this, or right now, if you need to go and have a moment, or if you want me to turn the lights off and put on music, so being able to talk about it and really having compassion. Like compassion is such a slept on skill.
Yes. No, seriously.
Compassion is such a slept on skill. As a man, as a partner, you got to have compassion in this moment, because and it's so funny because, Toddy basically saying have compassion for your partner, the dad, because they don't know much, and so really it's so much of having compassion for each other, and understanding, like, I am going through of having to taking care of a baby, but now this person has to take care of 2 extra people, and now there's a bigger responsibility on this person, and just having this like high level of understanding and awareness for each other, and knowing what is required to have that, so I just wanted to add my 2 cents on about, taking the load off, because that's small things make such a huge difference. Imagine you're a mom, your mom, and you wake up in the morning and, and your room is clean and the living room smells good. The drastic difference between that or the opposite. That's going to mess with your mental health. That's going right, Toddy. That's going to affect your mood. That's going to affect your depression. That's going to make you irritable. That's going to make you guilty, because I don't know about y'all, but me, I'd be like, if they can't do it, I should have did it.
Right.
If they didn't do it, then I should have just already did it. And so now I'm like, well, how come I can't do it? How come I can't get it done? Like, I want to get it done. Now you're pushing yourself, and now you're, it's just creating all this.
But really and truly, you don't really have the time to do it, because you're dealing with so much.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's a forever to-do list inside of your brain, on top of the additional things that's already happening in the now. So I totally understand that from a, like, give it a way.
Yeah.
No, I think that those resources are definitely available. So guys, if you are watching, and or anyone that may be sitting by their guy right now and you're watching this, please make sure that you are 100% involved in making sure that your woman is being, like, taken care of 100%. I think that a lot of men don't really understand that this is a whole process. You are here for the moment of seeing that child come out of this woman, to the point of where you're there home with her, you're there with the baby crying, you're there with the first feeding, you're there with a lot of things to witness. Don't just witness, involve yourself, so that you can be able to not only create the bond with the baby, but allowing the mom to get the energy that she needs, because if not, then you're not going to have a happy woman to be able to go back into herself prior to you even having a baby in the picture. This is a very serious topic here. What's going on, gov, girl?
Greetings. Sorry to just drop back in.
No, you good.
It hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
What about the same sex couples?
About postpartum?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I like the mom say if the female same sex couples are having a baby, and like that other, even though she's a woman, she may not
Understand.
understand or have that tool. And is she having some sort of
Resentment.
postpartum? Right, because you know what I'm saying? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
does that work? Even if you have a same sex couple of gay men, like
Yeah,
is one taking care of the baby more? Like, I feel like, and it may not register under postpartum. I understand that,
right.
but it's a level of still some sort of compassion or something, sympathy, empathy, like Toddy was saying, going on, because is it still in balance? Is there still one parent still caring more for the child?
Definitely. And I can see where that makes sense, because it makes me think of a YouTube couple of same sex couple. And these are two Melanin men, and I know that they I don't know if did they have a surrogate? I don't know if they had a surrogate or if they did adoption. It was either or, but I do believe that within that frequency of them, it was all because one is a lighter complected one and the other one is a darker complected. So it was always the darker complected that was handling the kids, as to the lighter complected wasn't really doing as much. So the babies always went to the darker complected if there was any of the issues. And the other one, I guess, was in his role of just, you know, I'm dad, you know, when I had, so that is a good question. And even with that, what is that called? If it is something that's going on like that, even that is like, that's a good question, because I'm now curious as to knowing, yeah, like, what is that?
Do you remember, y'all remember the walk with crime I did with the lesbian couple, and it was more of the masculine stud that gave birth to the baby? And when the little girl was like 3, she killed herself and the child because of, the breakup that was getting ready to happen. And I'm wondering, was she also suffering with postpartum depression? But because she was so hard and masculine, studdish, did she not recognize what was happening?
Yeah, that's deep as fuck.
And I feel like when you talk about things like that, now we're going into the psychosis. So like, where's the line? Like,
Mhm.
what is the trigger to where it becomes depression and psychosis? And if we talked about like, someone being bipolar, I just want to say that is actually a good question too, because when I use my words, I wanted to say partner, but we were specifically talking about the man. So I didn't say partner. But that is actually a really interesting dynamic. And I wonder if like biology plays a part into it too, because that's the whole thing with, a man and a woman and having a baby. Now there's biology, now there's chemistry, now there's all these things that are going on. So I'm wondering like how biology even plays a part into it with one of the parents being, I guess you can mix like the DNA from a woman and DNA from two women and make into a child. I don't know. I seen it on TikTok. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I don't know. It's a great question. And I guess that also goes into how they be equipped with tools. Like who's gonna equip them with tools? How are we going to equip them if we have never experienced that? you know? So
When I
we're
say I am over here thinking, bitch, I
right.
am over here perplexed.
It's
I'm
definitely
like,
get the wheels turned, you know? And that would be a great
yes,
conversation to have with maybe with same-sex couples that have adopted or have
I
raised
know,
children,
right?
that just to see what how it was for them, you know, what was the energy. And so what the other thing I was going to say too is I feel like when it comes to, like, you know, obviously when you have a surrogacy or you have to go to the doctor, those are planned. Those are planned families. So I'm wondering if what's the rate of people who are in same-sex relationships, or I'll say women, or the ones who carry the baby who are in same-sex relationships, what's the rate of in which they have postpartum depression, and is it related to
Is it higher?
is
You
it,
know,
yes, like, is it related to the dynamics of, you know what I mean, like what's the ratio, what's the
Yeah.
statistics look like, um
exactly.
because it's so much more different, you know, like, oh, that's what I was going with it. When you plan a family, you have more control, you know, so, you know, it's a little, I'm assuming, you know, my thought is it's less likely for you to go into this spiral of the blues, depression, psychosis, because you had more control. So when you talk about like same-sex couples, and they do more family planning because they have to, you know, like, you're going to the doctor and you have a person who's carrying a baby for you, you have to be more intentional in it. So I'm wondering if the family planning aspect, or the potential family planning, can change this rate in which you experience postpartum depression.
Hmm.
I'm really thinking like I'm just wondering now, out of all of like the psychosis and like bipolar, the unaliving of themselves and going through specific things, as my one of my sisters did. As you know, my sister was found hanging in the woods.
Right.
And like after her last baby, she just had a break an episode, you know, and I'm wondering how much of these things in our reality is actually attributed to these to the postpartum, and people are just unaware, not knowledgeable, not looking at it, thinking it's something else, because we genuinely have babies and just try to jump back into it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love
And
y'all.
no, I love you too. Gratitude for just having us to think about that, because what you got something to say about that, Toddy?
Well, not necessarily. I was about to say I was fucking this food up that I made.
Oh.
If anyone could tell. So sorry to interrupt.
Oh my goodness, no. I thought you were about to say something. I was like, girl, I want to hear what you got to say. But no. Girl,
That's
finish
fine.
eating. Finish eating.
Okay.
Enjoy
Okay.
your food, sis. Um, no, like, when I say literally made me over, I'm over here thinking like, wow. Because now I want to know, like, how are you dealing with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel any type of way in regards to, you having a new baby? You've never had that before. Like, how would this process go? You know what I'm saying? Like, even for myself, like, how would it go for me? I've been in this world, gratitude to the soul and spirit, made 30, April 16th. So it's like, when that moment happens, I've been in this world alone. And to have a young human being that I have to care for, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Like,
It is the most alien thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like, when I tell you, it just like, how could you like be pregnant and like not become like the most, like, not feel like you are actually a goddess or a god after that? Like, can't nobody tell me nothing like, oh, we're regular. No. Until you feel a baby kick inside of your body, you don't know anything about what it's like to be anything besides a human.
yeah.
You
Oh
get
my
some?
gosh.
Um, but God, you made me forget what I was saying. But I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, if it comes back to me.
Miss Charmin is funny as fuck. Listen, she's like, listen, it left my mind, okay? Oh my gosh, like literally, I'm over here thinking about doing a part 3 because I'm not done. I feel like this could go. So this could very well, y'all. This could very well be a 3-part series because if I'm thinking about it, if we were to get couples on same-sex couples on here, that would be so fucking dope to talk about that because I would want to know every fucking thing, and my ass would probably go down the fucking rabbit hole and research too. Think about that.
Honestly, like going down, this has been on my mind to say, but I'm like, is it necessary to tell them that? But I feel like we're talking about the realness of it all, and this is kind of random, but I kind of feel like, so okay, I won't say it's random because Guided has talked about toxic masculinity, and really, yes. I feel like toxic masculinity plays such a huge part in what birth looks like. And one of the things, like if you go down the rabbit hole of birth, you might end up in a really terrible place. Yeah. Because birth is intertwined in the medical system just as much as anything else is. Like, you know what I mean? And so so many horrible things have happened to people and women when it comes to giving birth. And when you talk about like what men could do, you know, a normal man is not going to do this. So I'm just going to say this. So I'm giving a trigger warning. This is a big trigger warning. So one of the things that I've learned that happens with like, so when after you have a baby, you're supposed to wait 6 weeks minimally to have sex again because you just got a big giant wound and so many things are happening. And there is an actual pandemic. There is an actual override of men who make it their goal to disobey that rule. And trigger warning, they literally asked, it's called, what is it called? It's called the husband stitch. They will ask their doctor to stitch the wife up after having, like if you get cut or something, up so that their vaginal hole is smaller. And when I tell you did you get that?
So they're sewing up the vagina tighter than it was before.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I brought that up because you would have to on a rabbit hole.
Girl, wait. So that means that they have to go through a virginity again?
It's absolutely terrifying. It's one of those things where it's like, I did not need to know that, but you do need to know it because you need to know that nothing in the world is not subject to, I don't know, demons. Or, you know, evil energy, like nothing in the world. And that's why this is such an important topic to talk about, because you cannot take what they give you about birth and be like, well, that's what it is, because birth is so complex. It is so complex. And they say you have the baby and, you know, you're moving on with your life, but so much abuse is surrounds giving birth. You know, so much abuse surrounds, you know, so much of what is wrong with us as a society. You know, Kutita's been telling us about, you know, the depression and what's the depression, you know, and what's really the depression. And the depression is they're depressing us. And they literally do things and concoct fucking things so that day one, you're living the least amount of quality life you can live. Day one. You ain't been out the womb not 5 hours and you done already got poison in your body. And I don't want to end the show off negatively, so I mean,
girl,
just the rabbit hole is extensive, and it's so important to know.
Fight.
Yeah,
I want to fight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's like, what?
Like, how evil are you? People are so.
Yes.
And I guess it's important to know that. And like, obviously you should know if your husband would do that to you, but you should also know that doctors are willing to do that. You should also know that doctors don't have men arrested for doing that. You know what I mean? So like, this is something it's so easy to like kind of be lazy about it because we have this structure like, oh, we got to go to the hospital to give birth, but you cannot be lazy when it comes to giving birth. You can't be lazy as a partner, you know, gay, straight, bisexual, whatever we got going on you cannot be lazy as a partner. You can't be lazy as the person who's carrying the child, you know, because they are out to get us. Anyways, I got book suggestions. We're gonna go good, guys. I'm terrible at being like I'm supposed to be a Sagittarius. I'm supposed to be Sagittarius rising. I'm supposed to be positive. Anyway, so I'm gonna to end this in a positive note, y'all, because God, like, or we're like, oh, this is so sad. I have some book suggestions for breastfeeding and birth. Because, you know, obviously we want to be informed, and I'm big on books because like if the internet shuts down, then what else how I'm gonna know anything. So I collect books for the apocalypse. Just kidding.
Yes.
But so I have 3 books that I'm gonna share with you, and these are so this is The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. This is La Leche League International. They are like an organization that's promotes breastfeeding and tries to inform on breastfeeding. It has information on pregnancy to weaning, and it says the one book every nursing mother needs by her side. So The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding is a good one, and it's pretty stacked, and it's going to give you lots of information about what that looks like. And then we have The Nursing Mother's Companion. So there's probably newer updates. I don't know. I got these a long time ago, but they show you pictures. Like you would be surprised how hard it is to like find a comfortable position to breastfeed, which makes your body hurt, which makes, you know what I mean? Like so many things. Right. So this is a good one. It shows you like actual drawings on like what it, like the position. It shows you how to latch on.
Oh, so, wow.
Which is complicated. Okay. A lot of people's issues is that they can't get the latch properly. And so it gives you pictures so you can follow that. I'll put it one more time. Nursing Mother's Companion. And then the last one is The Thinking Woman's Guide to Better Birth by Hensi Goer. And it says it includes clear, comprehensive information on cesareans, inducing labors, IVs, epidurals, home births, midwives and obstetricians, hospital births, birth centers, and alternatives to high-tech birth. So this is probably going to be a good one for like being informed on your options and what to do and what not to do and what these things cause, because what they don't tell you is that epidurals cause, you know, things going on in your spine, and, you know, all of these different things can cause permanent damage to your body. So anyways, we've got a few minutes. So the floor is yours. I have ended up.
Listen, Charms, I am so glad that you were able to take some time out of your day to come and talk to us about just your experiences and things that we can be able to do just from your doula point of view. Like I said, even though you and I have done this in a while, girl, you are still a doula to us, and we show so much gratitude for you being able to come and just let us know. Toddy, I am so glad that you were able to come back to us and give us just a little bit of words of encouragement, wisdom, and joy. I think that you really touched everybody with just saying what a lot of women feel when it comes to that beautiful baby that you have. So listen, we appreciate the transparency. Guys, I think what I am going to do is I'm going to work on a part 3 on this. That will be able to include same-sex couples. I'll create an ad to where if we had any same-sex couples that would like to come on and talk about this postpartum series, we could be able to kind of just end it on that. And maybe we can get more things because this is so important. I feel like I'm being educated too, even though that this is, you know, my platform, you know. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to even just witness. So I appreciate both of you ladies for coming on and being my guests. To everyone that has supported diversity, I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart for just coming in and just being able to know that this is a safe space for either of you to talk about your experiences, talk about your testimonies. Last week we had a lot of women that came in and were able to really get closure on a lot of this. So we appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to a Walk with the Ancestors Productions for always holding your girl down on every Friday. I love you to life. And again, if you are wanting sponsorships with a Walk with the Ancestors Productions, a magicwalk@gmail.com is the email that you would contact if you are interested. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. And I love y'all to life. And talk to y'all later. Bye.